Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll start with a new topic that is design of water tank. So this is one of the lengthiest topic in your syllabus. In this, we will be going through the fundamentals of water tank. We'll go through the codal provisions. Then we'll go through the circular tanks, uh, rectangular tanks. Then we'll go through the elevated tanks such as inch tank. Okay, so basically, this is a type of water retaining structures. Water tanks are water retaining structures. Just like you have gone through the retaining wall, which are earth retaining structures, these are water retaining structures. Okay, basically, the tanks can be designed to store any type of liquid. Uh, it may be chemical also, but in this course, we will be focusing on water tanks only. Okay, but the tanks can be used for storage of multiple purposes. Okay, so uh, water tanks are the water retaining structures used to store water. Okay, though it can be used for other purposes if the crack width criteria are satisfied. Means we can use the tanks for the storage of other chemicals and liquids also, but we have to make sure while designing that the crack width uh, required for such liquids are satisfied. So in these tanks, we will be talking about three types of tanks. Okay, we'll be talking about tanks resting on ground, underground tanks, and elevated tanks. Okay, this is uh, based on the position, based on the position with respect to ground level. Okay, so in tanks resting on ground, the tanks, this is the ground level, the tanks are resting on the ground. Okay, in case of underground tank, if this is the ground level, this is ground level, this is ground level, and the tanks are below the ground level. Okay, and in elevated tanks, the tanks are provided on some staging. Okay, we have some column, frame, or shaft type stagings on which the tanks are resting. Okay, So this is your tank. This is elevated tank. This is underground tank. And this is tank resting on ground. Now same way, depending on the shape also we can have different type, like it can be a rectangular tank, it can be a circular tank, or it can be a inch type tank. Okay. It can be a conical uh, type tank, it can be spherical tank. Okay, so depending on the shape also we can have different types of the tank. So that we will see later on, the different types of the tank based on various means the classification of tanks. But basically we will be having three type: tank resting on the ground, underground tank, and elevated tanks. Now for the design of these tanks, we will be using the code 3370 and part 1 to 4. Okay, there are 4 parts, but we will be using part 1 and 2 only. Part 3 is for the pre-stressed tanks, and part 4 is a handbook type code which gives the tables for determining the uh, the amount of reinforcements and all other parameters we can get from part 4, but they are not allowed in your examination. So we will be using part 1 and part 2 only, but the liquid retaining structures are given in code IS 3370, and it has 4 parts. So these uh, these are also known as ground storage reservoir. See, depending on the capacity of the tank, we can have small capacity tanks and large capacity tanks. So we can have large capacity tanks and small capacity tanks. Okay, so tank can be used for the small capacity of storage or as well as large storage of capacity. So the large storage large capacity storage tanks are also known as storage reservoir. Okay, the large storage capacity tanks resting on the grounds are also known as uh, so large storage capacity resting on the ground, they are known as ground storage reservoir. ground storage reservoir means resting on the ground. Okay. It can be underground storage reservoir.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रहा।
अरे तो बोलना चाहिए ना। आ रहा है आवाज?
हाँ सर।
Underground storage reservoir, USR, and we can have high ground level storage reservoir. They are called high ground level reservoir. The elevated tanks are also sometimes called as elevated storage reservoir, or these are also known as elevated storage reservoir, ESR. Okay, so large storage capacity can be the resting on ground are called ground storage reservoir. Resting on underground tanks, underground large storage tanks are called USR, and elevated storage tanks are called ESR. Okay, we'll now see the codal provisions related to the water tanks. So I'm sharing my screen. See, IS 3370 Part 1 2009. Okay, the earlier version of IS 3370 was based on working stress philosophy, but this new code that is released in 2009, it is based on limit state method also, as well as in the annexure it has given the working stress method also. Okay, but as far as your syllabus is concerned, we will be following working stress philosophy. Okay, so the title of the code is concrete structure for storage of liquid, and it is a code of practice. Means whenever you design any liquid retaining structures or storage of any liquids, structures for the storage of any liquids, you have to strictly follow this code. It is a code of practice. The scope of the code is this standard lays down general requirements for the design and construction of plain, reinforced and pre-stressed concrete structures intended for storage of liquids, mainly water. Okay, so in this code it gives guidelines for the design of liquid retaining structures, and especially water made of either plain reinforced concrete, or plain or reinforced or pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so steel liquid retaining structures are not covered in this code. Okay, this is only for the plain concrete or reinforced concrete or pre-stressed concrete liquid retaining structures only, and that too for the storage of liquids, mainly water. So for steel retaining structures, steel liquid tanks, you have to refer different code. The requirements applicable specifically to reinforced concrete and pre-stressed concrete liquid retaining structures are covered in 3370 Part 2 and Part 3 respectively. So this Part 1 is just IS 3370 Part 1. It gives the fundamentals and basics of uh, this water tanks or liquid storage tanks. Okay, it gives the fundamentals and some guidelines for the uh, liquid storage tanks. 3370 Part 2 is for the reinforced concrete liquid storage tanks, and Part 3 that is for the pre-stress liquid storage tanks. Means when the crack width requirements are not satisfied, then you can go for the pre-stress also, because in pre-stress we can have the crack free structure also. So for those structures we can, even by using pre-stress, your section also becomes smaller. This standard does not cover requirements for the concrete structure for storage of hot liquids. Okay, so it is not used for the hot liquids and liquids of low viscosity. Okay, and high penetration powers like petrol, diesel, oil, etc. So for such chemicals or liquids, you have to use different code. Okay, this code is not applicable for storage of these liquids, and so this code is specifically for the water only. This standard does not cover dams, pipelines, line structures, and dam proof of the basement. Okay, so for the design of dam, again this is not used. For that you have to refer different code. For design of pipelines, this code cannot be used. And for line structure, you might have seen canals which are having lining. Okay, you have some RCC done on the periphery of the this canal. So it cannot be used for the lining also, and dam proof of the basement. So for DPC also this cannot be used. Okay, so it is basically used for the reinforced or pre-stressed concrete, plain reinforced or pre-stressed concrete structures used for the storage of liquids like water. Special problems of shrinkage arises in storage of non-aqueous liquid, and measures necessary where chemical attack is possible are also not dealt with. The recommendations, however, may generally be applied to the storage at normal temperature of aqueous liquid and solutions which have not detrimental effects on the storage and steel. Okay, then this clause, the criteria for the design of RCC staging for overhead tanks are given in 11682. Okay, so if you are designing any elevated storage tank like any ESR, like you are designing a inch tank. Okay, so for the design of the staging is this part, the part which supports the container. So for the design of staging, you have to refer this code IS 11682. This part is only used for the storage of, this is container. Now this is inch tank type. It can be a it can be of different shape, like it can be a conical also, it can be a cylindrical also. It can be rectangular, it can be circular. Okay. So these are the references which you need to follow in addition to this code. Then the materials, for materials you have to refer IS 456, that is for the reinforced concrete structure, and 1343 for the pre-stressed concrete structures. Okay, so in addition to the guidelines given in this code, you can refer IS 456 for reinforced concrete structure and IS 1343 for the pre-stressed concrete structure. Then porous aggregate, under no circumstances the use of porous aggregate such as slag, crushed overburnt bricks, or bloated clay aggregates, sintered fly ash aggregates. So sintered fly ash aggregates cannot be used here. So any porous aggregates which absorbs liquid, uh, they are not used. Uh, they are not allowed to use in this as a material in these liquid retaining structures. Then jointing materials can be joint pillar, joint ceiling compounds, and water bars shall conform to the requirements of relevant Indian standard. So, so for making the joints liquid proof, so you might have to use the water bars, joint ceiling compounds, and joint pillars. So, respective codes shall be followed for them. Hello. हाँ. हाँ. Okay, exposure for the purpose of this standard, the parts of the structures, liquid retaining structure or enclosed space above the liquid shall be subjected to severe condition as per IS 456. So, so when designing the structure, the cover requirement shall be as per the severe environment condition. Okay, as per IS 456. So you have seen in IS 456 we have different exposure conditions such as mild, severe, very severe, and extreme. So for the purpose of this code, the liquid retaining structure shall be considered to be subjected to severe exposure. And in case of members exposed to very severe or extreme conditions, the relevant provisions of IS 456 shall be used. So here there is no mild exposure. Okay, you have to consider severe, and if the environment is very severe or extreme, then you have to take you have to consider those conditions, but no mild condition to be assumed. Then this clause gives the minimum cement requirement. Okay, so you can refer that clause, because but this code is not for the design purpose, we are not going through, but you can go through for the site purpose. So this table we will be using for the designing. Minimum cement content, maximum water cement ratio, and minimum grade of the concrete. This will be used for the we will be using the minimum grade of the concrete to be used. So if you are using any plain concrete for liquid retaining structure, minimum grade is M20. For reinforced concrete, minimum grade is M30, and for pre-stressed concrete it is M40. Okay, so as far as your syllabus is concerned, we will be using reinforced concrete structure, so minimum grade is M30. Okay. Then these are related to the see, yes, uh, in making the choice of the site and preparation of the design, the factors should be taken into account, such as earth pressure. Suppose you are designing any underground tank, so while constructing, uh, means when the storage is empty, you will be having a lateral earth pressure from the surrounding soil, and when the tank is filled, then you will be having hydrostatic pressure from the water inside. Okay, so it will be subjected to earth pressure also. Then another condition is the flotation condition. If the site of a liquid retaining structure waterlogged grounds cannot be avoided, the danger of the external water pressure shall be carefully guarded against the following. Design the structure to resist such pressure under empty or partial empty condition. Okay, sometimes you if it is a submerged soil, then there may be water pressure from the beneath the tank. So which will try to uplift the tank. So for such cases, you have to check the tank for the empty condition or partially empty condition. Okay, so when there is no liquid inside, and so during that time, this uplift from the water pore pressure, it will be maximum. So you have to check for the empty condition or partial empty condition, and taking precautions to prevent floating and ensure stable equilibrium under all conditions of internal and external loads. Okay, so you have to make sure that the tank is in equilibrium under this uplift force, and the tank doesn't float. So you have to check the flotation condition. Then the stability, the equilibrium, and the stability and the safety of the structures as a part of its against sliding and overturning, same as the retaining wall. Here also you have to check for the sliding as well as overturning. Means the tank should not topple over, and it should not slide. So you have to check these two conditions also. Then settlement and subsidence. Sometimes the soil beneath the tank is uh, is uh, is a weak soil, or we can say soft soil. So the tank may settle. So you have to check it with the permissible settlement also. Okay, sometimes some part may be of weak soft soil, so we can have differential settlement also. So these thing has to be ensured that the settlements and subsidence are within the permissible values. Then injurious soil. The injurious soil means sometimes the soils may be chemically active, so which may react with the concrete also. So you have to check that also. So chemical analysis of the soil and groundwater is essential in case where injurious soils are expected to exit. So this thing has to be checked from the geotechnical reports, as the concrete structure may suffer severe damage in contact with such soil. So such injurious soils can harm the concrete, uh, and due to which the structure can get damaged. And causes and control of cracking, as we do not want the water retaining structures to crack, otherwise it will cause leakage problem. So what are the various causes that cause the cracking of the structures and how to control them? So those provisions are given in this clause. Basically the causes of the cracking are the effect of the applied loads, okay, or it may be due to the temperature and moisture effects. So the direct and flexural tension in concrete arising from the applied external service loads from temperature gradient due to solar radiation or from the containment of liquids at temperature above ambient may cause cracking in the concrete. And the change in temperature of the concrete and reinforcement in moisture content of the concrete cause dimensional changes, which if resisted internally or externally may crack the concrete. The distribution of and the width of such cracks may be controlled by reinforcement together with the provision of the joint movement. So the temperature effect can be controlled by providing the minimum steel required for the temperature and shrinkage, and the joint movement can be provided by providing a suitable joint there. So methods of control, the plain liquid retaining structures or members may be designed by allowing direct tension in plain concrete. The permissible tensile stresses for M20 and M25 being 1.2 Newton per mm square and 1.3 Newton per mm square for direct tension, and 1.7 and 1.8 for the flexural tension respectively. So for plain, I think this same thing is given in the part 2 also. Uh, for plain concrete of grade M20 and M25, the values of the permissible stress, direct stress in concrete, and permissible flexural stress. Permissible sigma CT, that is permissible tension in concrete, and this is permissible bending tension in concrete. So that value are given as 1.2 Newton per mm square, and for this it is 1.3. Oh, 1 point for m it is 1.3 Newton per mm square, and the permissible tension, bending tension, is 1.7 and 1.8 Newton per mm square. Again, this is for the plain concrete, but we will be using reinforced concrete. However, nominal reinforcement in accordance with the procedure given in IS 456 shall be followed for the plain concrete structure. So this clause is related to the plain concrete structures. Then the most important factor for drying shrinkage is the amount of water per unit of the concrete. The water can be reduced by use of both plasticizing admixtures and by use of minimum amount of cement consistent with the qualities. Again, this is for the uh, uh, this is not relevant for the design purpose, but it is as a it can be used as a specification. Then the stability of the structure. The stability of the structure against overturning and sliding shall be given in IS 456. So the clauses given in IS 456 for the overturning and stability sliding check, same shall be followed here. A structure subjected to underground water pressure shall be designed to resist flotation. Okay, so for underground tanks, we have to uh, check the tank for the flotation condition. Okay, the flotation condition is the one. If it is an underground tank, then we have to check the empty tank with some upward pressure from the uh, uh, pore water pressure. Okay, then the joints, different types of the joints. So this we will cover in the next lecture. There are different types of the joints. Movement joints can be of contraction type, then expansion type. Okay, so those things will be covering in the and these joints are uh, are the part of your theory exam. So you can go through this also. You can have construction joints, temporary open joints. So different types of the joints we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so basically the tanks are the water retaining structures used to store water, and it can be tank resting on the ground, underground tank or elevated tank, depending on the position of the tank with respect to the ground level. And we will be using the IS 3370 part 1 to 4 for the design of water tanks. And the large storage tanks are also called as storage reservoir, and so we can have the ground storage reservoir, underground storage reservoir, and high level ground storage water reservoir. The examples are the underground storage are usually provided in societies, and from these underground storage reservoir, the water is pumped to the elevated storage reservoir, and from this pump, see, you might have seen in your in nearby your area that there is a storage reservoir from where the water is stored to the elevated storage reservoir. Okay, the water is pumped from these two elevated storage reservoir, and from this reservoir from the and it is distributed to the various parts of the area through this elevated tank. Okay, and we can have ground storage reservoir also. Sometimes the storage may be provided on the ground also. Okay, so these are various storage reservoir. Okay, so any doubt in this? So we have covered the fundamentals of water tank today, and we'll be continuing different types of joints in the next lecture. Okay, so if you don't have any doubts, we can stop here. Okay, so let's end the meeting here.